that the land run is an important part of our state's story and our history, but I think it's also important that we educate our kids about the darker, not so pretty side of what happened.
You know, for a lot of people who grew up in Oklahoma, one of your earliest classroom memories might be reenacting the land run. You know, many districts have done away with that practice, though, because it's tough, it's offensive for some of those students to relive. But now Edmond Public Schools is being asked to do the same. And here with us this morning is Summer Wesley. She is with Live Indigenous OK. Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for being with us here today.
Of course.
And, taking us back to history, multiple land runs across Oklahoma. All of this unassigned land that was here, people came forward, first come, first serve, and a lot of times those acquisitions got violent. So elaborate on what part of history is making you uncomfortable.
Well, it's not that the history is making us uncomfortable. The lack of accurate and complete teaching of it is what's problematic. I think when we ask, should land run reenactments be done away with, we're asking the wrong question. The appropriate question is, why are we still doing them? Why have they persisted for so long? And when are we in Oklahoma going to finally prioritize education?
But you are asking Edmond Public Schools to do away with it, correct?
To do away with the reenactments, yes. To replace them with a complete and accurate telling of history. We've talked to educators across many districts, including Edmond, and the consensus is that there is little to no educational value in the land run reenactments. The students, even when we spoke with educators who would like to keep the reenactments, the consensus is that at most children are coming away with just the idea settlers came and took land and nothing else. There's no complete, accurate telling of the history. So it's not only removed from its context, it's stripped of all educational value.
And so when you say you want to replace it, you want to take away the acting part of it completely and it just be a textbook lesson with all the factual information, or are you saying, okay, we can do a reenactment as long as both sides are accurately accounted for?
Well,
what exactly do you mean
I
there?
don't think there's one or the other on that. There's many ways to teach history. Oklahoma City, for example, has been piloting a program for the last, I think, 3 years it's been, where they tell, and it is a hands-on experience. The children go to different stations and learn not only from the settlers' point of view, the indigenous point of view, but the point of view of immigrants and freedmen who are almost always left out of this history. And so there's a gap in what we're teaching our children, and so that is a disservice to them as students, and then of course to society as a whole, because they are going to become adults and not have the context necessary to understand current social issues.
And a lot of what I heard too, I know other Native American groups have come out and said that they think these reenactments celebrate genocide.
Absolutely.
What have you seen yourself? What part of that have you seen that is celebratory to you?
Well, it is done in a romanticized way that celebrates it. In fact, some districts actually couple it with a birthday party for the state and all of these things. So it is celebratory. And so once you start talking to children from communities that were marginalized in this process, it's very difficult for them to not only go to that, their options are to either participate or be excluded. My children, I didn't even know land run reenactments existed until I moved my children to Norman Public Schools in 2011, and we found out the day before. So my children had to miss school with an unexcused absence because my third grader came home in tears saying, why on earth how can my teachers celebrate this?
So your third grader knew all about this history?
Absolutely.
At 8 years old?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, pretending this didn't happen is not a privilege that Native children are afforded, because this history impacts our everyday life.
And the reason I asked that, I was just, curious as to, a lot of times when you hear about these, children being offended, are you hearing from the kids, or is it mostly families, parents coming forward saying, absolutely not, my child is not doing this?
Actually, in Edmond in particular, this began with a third grade student who, she's very bright, very empathetic, and she's read a lot. So when she found out that this was coming up in their curriculum, she went to her mom very distraught. How can we celebrate this? She is not a Native student, she is a white student. She said, how can we do this to my friends? And so her mother then started educating herself on the issue, and she's the one who reached out to us. So credit where credit is due. We did not start this movement in Edmond. This was started by a third grade student. And the mother asked us, because she set up a meeting with the director of elementary education, Price Brown, and she asked us to accompany her to the meeting because she didn't feel like she was educated enough on the topic. And one of our directors, Sarah Adams Cornell, was involved in formulating the curriculum in Oklahoma City. So we agreed to help with educational resources. And when we met with Mr. Brown, we found out this was actually a dialogue they were already having with him and the principals on what to do about this and how to formulate new curriculum. And so then we were invited to go to a meeting of the principals to discuss this as well. And so that's where we've gone. Okay. This was already in motion. We've just been providing educational resources.
And I know you've gotten a lot of, feedback too, and I took to Facebook this morning. I wanted viewers' responses. What do you say to the people who come out and they're against stopping those classroom reenactments and say, quit, this is ridiculous. How can you keep kids from learning this part of history? What do you say to all of those people who are really upset that you want to take this part away from the curriculum, the reenactment?
Well, no one is asking to stop teaching the history. We're asking to raise the bar a bit and teach the full history, and instead of just the celebratory aspects, because you need a balanced view of history to fully understand it. And so that's usually where I start, and then we can determine if they actually care about that issue. The majority of those who are staunch opponents of ending this do not actually care about those facts.
Do you think we ever get to a point where students are so offended by this that they, don't want to even take part in a textbook lesson about the land run? At what point do you stop trying to protect or not offend each student? What happens if a student says, no, I don't even want to hear about what happened to my ancestors? What's your response there?
I don't think it's about offense at all. I think we have to critically examine the good and the bad of all history, because that's important in learning how to deal with basic things in life and current policy. And I haven't heard of a student yet who, when they are taught that education in that way, that will say, oh, I'm offended, I don't want to talk about this or deal with this.
Okay, just wondering if you think maybe we get to that point.